Christmas to you all from Cross Politic.
There's no jingles. There's no jingles in
Jesus
this song.
born, jingle, jingle.
I don't know about this.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to Cross Politic Midweek Fix on the Fight Laugh Feast Network. Pastor Toby Chuck Knox on the water boy. It's
I
good to
need
be
to
with
share
you
the
guys.
show.
Make sure you like and share the show now. Because I can't do it because we're live.
Oh, it's like
So
live.
It's hard for me to share the show when it's
Hi,
live.
Mom. Hi, Mom.
I'm introducing you guys. Man, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah,
We're hoping
Merry
you're celebrating and partying it up and giving candy to the kids every night. Well, maybe not every night, but
Singing songs and defying
songs,
tyrants.
all that jazz. It's good to have this Advent season in the midst of all this fray and everything. I'm not even going to get into it. You guys know what to do. Join the club, all that jazz.
Not even going to get into
Why
it.
is my mouse not working?
Yeah, that's how it goes.
I don't know what to tell you.
Who's got their
Do
notifications?
we need
not turned
batteries? That was definitely mine.
Oh, where's your keyboard at, Gabe?
Keyboard. I can do that.
You see, look at this. I'm doing
Might be a battery.
I do everything for
There
you.
we go. Those silver member and above, you get these fantastic Fight Laugh Feast mugs.
These are
guys.
so-
I'm going to break it to you. I said this on the Daily News Brief today. If you haven't listened to it, listen to it again. But to get rid of kind of the shameless, join the club kind of thing.
Okay.
I don't care if it's discern.com or Boys at Babylon Bee. Find a Christian media organization and support them. You know what I'm saying?
Please, message.
I mean, that's
Right.
That's what how we need to be thinking about what's going to be happening in 2021 and moving forward. Christians really need to dominate this space, and old media has all the money. And our business model, the way we do it, is through club memberships. It's a couple cups of coffee a month or more.
That's right.
And we appreciate your help because we're really trying to fight, the voices of darkness in this media world and everything.
Well,
so
everything that we do is based off of information.
Right.
And if we get faulty information or bad information, we can't function well.
Right.
Yep.
And right now, the sources that we have out there
they're
aren't
horrible.
really-
And we're going to cover some of this
We don't
today.
trust them.
we don't
No.
trust them.
Yeah.
And they're horrible. In fact,
I mean, do you trust CNN or a guy from Texas who wears a Santa hat?
That's right.
Right?
The guy
The
from
guy
Texas.
who's
I don't take myself seriously.
The guy who's in the trenches with me wearing the Santa hat.
Yeah.
That's who I trust.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we got the same fate.
No, it's true. It's true.
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
That's right.
Done with those suits and ties.
And exactly. And so, and actually this goes into a lot of our news and what we're covering.
Sorry.
Some
funny.
suits and
Sorry.
ties.
Some success.
Just having fun over here.
The COVID data that's being presented to us in a lot of ways is a joke. And we're going to be covering that. And the way the media covers this, we just did an Idaho press conference yesterday, and I talked about some of this.
Okay.
A statewide press conference, Lieutenant Governor Janice McGee, and I also talked a little bit on the Daily News Brief about this also. But the media doesn't ask us about any of the numbers we're presenting. Doesn't ask us about any of the, hey, this is crazy. And I'll give you an example here.
You said the media's not asking us? Or you
No, what they spent most of the questions asking us about stickers on
Oh,
vandalized
I see what
down,
you're saying. You're saying
down in Boise.
During your interview yesterday, you guys had the media there, and the media didn't ask you guys about any of the questions.
They didn't ask about any of the data that we were presenting.
I got
They
you.
just started asking about protests in Boise.
Because they have a narrative.
Exactly.
They have a narrative
Exactly.
that they care about.
And they brought up this one example where there's this swastika stickers that were plastered over the statue down in Boise, and they were trying to pin us with hey, why don't you guys condemn this or whatever? And I was like, I don't even know what was going on down in Boise,
Right.
and whatever happened, and so I just Betsy was the lady asking the questions, and I said, hang on. I'll give you real life examples of gulag tactics from my own city council who arrested me for practicing my First Amendment rights. I said, I'll give you their names. I'll give you their contact. I'll give you their email addresses. Why don't you call them up and ask them? Because this is real.
I got a question.
Yes.
Did the swastika that was posted on there, what was it in Boise?
Yeah. Some statue
Did
in
it
Boise.
move us back to stage 2?
No.
Did it shut down businesses here?
That was my point with Betsy.
I'm just asking a
That
question.
was my point with Betsy.
Right.
Okay.
And so, anyways, listen to this. In Idaho, over 80% of the coronavirus deaths in Idaho come from the ages 70 years and older.
Yep.
All right. But if you back that up 10 years to age 60, over 93% of the deaths in Idaho are 60 and above.
Right.
Now you look at that. Then you add the CDC data into this.
Okay.
The CDC says that over 94% of those who've died with the coronavirus have 2.9 comorbidities. So now look at this.
Almost 3 comorbidities
Right.
on average.
And now look at this. 80% of the deaths in Idaho are 70 and above. and 94% of those deaths have 2.9, almost 3 comorbidities.
And the thing that too,
it's insane.
The other thing that people keep missing is that there's the virus, but there's a whole bunch of stuff also going along with it, like the lockdowns of the nursing homes and the elderly folks and stuff. I mean, I think we're shooting ourselves in the foot because
hands down.
People can't go outside. They can't see their family.
You're shutting down gyms.
They can't see their loved ones. And what does that do to an immune system? What does that do to an older person's will to live?
I'm sorry. Would you say immune system? I've never heard that from. What is that? What is immune system?
Yeah, it's the thing that God gave us to fight viruses.
Oh,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no one talks about that anymore.
No, yeah. All they talk about is face coverings.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like some kind of magic thing.
Huh.
It's
And
a talisman.
one of the things that was brought up by one of the doctors on our press conference yesterday is she said we aren't talking about any pre-treatment stuff.
Right.
We're just talking about when you get in a hospital.
Yeah.
Get on a respirator or whatever. Yeah. She's like, there's all this stuff. Once you know that you're contracting, starting to get sick, there's actually some things that you can do to really help. Zinc. What's that appleberry stuff?
I'm gonna go through
berry stuff.
Vitamin
whatever.
C.
Vitamin C, vitamin D.
A, C, D, zinc.
Elderberry.
Yeah, elderberry. There you go.
Elderberry.
She's saying that helps the zinc take a little better.
Also, sunshine.
Yeah.
Walking.
30
minutes a day is probably one of the best things you can do for your immune system.
Okay, so
And
that's
sleep. Did we talk about sleep?
Singing psalms.
Singing songs.
Oh, amen. That brings joy to the heart.
Right?
Drink some wine.
And it's good for you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
anyways.
Amen. So, think of the 80% thing.
Okay.
All right. And think of the numbers that are being reported in your own state.
Okay.
And then, now let's get to the PCR test. All right. The PCR tests are the common test that everyone gets to determine if they got the coronavirus or not.
It tests for the virus itself.
Right. Sort of.
Kind of.
Okay. So Dr. Fauci commented on the PCR test about 4 months ago regarding kind of how where the test is, at what point is the test no good anymore? And I'll play this role real quick.
Okay.
What is now sort of evolving into a bit of a standard that if you get a cycle threshold of 35 or more, that the chances of it being replication competent are minuscule. So that if somebody, and we have patients, and it's very frustrating for the patients as well as for the physicians. Somebody comes in and they repeat their PCR and it's like 37 cycle threshold. But you almost never can culture virus from a 37 threshold cycle. So I think if somebody does come in with 37, 38, even 36, you got to say, it's just dead nucleotides, period.
It's junk.
Yeah, because as you know, we can't easily culture infectious virus. You don't have a BSL-3 lab everywhere.
Exactly.
Okay.
So is the threshold cycle is reporting out a pretty standard practice in doing a diagnosis now rather than just positive or negative? Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, if when you go in, when I get my test, it's negative. When someone comes in and it's positive, they don't give them the threshold until you go back and ask for it.
So you got to go back and ask for it.
You got to go back and ask for it. But here's what happened. So I texted with some doctors yesterday and asked, what are our laboratories testing at?
Okay.
Our laboratory's cycle threshold is going up to 36.
Right.
So
where
Fauci's saying 35 or above, it's not going to be a good PCR test.
Okay.
The other thing that the laboratory told us, and I thought this was also really helpful and interesting, was that the PCR test is not a good test for just kind of a one-off thing. It has to be something that you do, let's say, on Monday and then on Tuesday and then on Thursday or something like that for it to be helpful. Because what happens is, let's say you go in and get tested and they find, coronavirus particles at cycle 34 or whatever. And then you go and that's a one point in time kind of thing. You should go back in the next day and get tested again.
Okay.
Because if it progresses, let's say they find coronavirus particles at 15 cycles, well then it's like, that virus is progressing.
It's growing.
Right.
Okay.
But if you go in and it get tested and it's at 35, 36, 37, where it gets really bad, then it's obvious that you don't have it.
Okay.
Steve,
So the PCR test is not good. And actually, the original inventor even said this. He's dead now, but the original inventor said this is not really a good test for determining if you're sick or not.
You guys might have caught this. I mentioned this earlier this week on my news brief, but the Florida governor, or just I don't know,
Steve DeSantis.
Yeah, he just
Ron DeSantis,
he just passed something where he's requiring all the labs in Florida to report their cycle thresholds.
Yes.
And he's given them like a certain number of days, to basically, if they aren't already reporting them, to be reporting them constantly.
Right.
Because he's wanting to watch out for, basically, you end up with really high numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going above 35, I mean, there's apparently
it's junk.
40, whatever.
It's junk.
But you can get a lot of false positives, basically.
And some states are going up to 40.
Really?
I've also heard of other virologists
no,
even say that even after 30 cycles, it's suspect.
Yeah, I think Michael Mina, I think he's in North Carolina, but I saw Steve Deace tweet this too, talking about that the threshold is giving us false numbers. So if you actually set it to around 30, I guess in North Carolina they were looking at this. If you set it to about 30 and you look at it, that takes about 80 to 90% of the
coronavirus stats out of the numbers.
Oh, you're
80 to 90 out of the numbers.
Because of the fact that we're overclocking our PCR
We're
testing.
oversensitizing our PCR test. Now, here's think of a super spreader event.
Okay.
So, everyone talks about super spreader events, and it's like the reason why those super spreader events happen is because someone shows up sick there. Right. They actually have the coronavirus or found out they had the coronavirus after the event,
right.
And then they go and test everybody,
okay.
And they're using this junk PCR test, and they're like, oh, yeah, everyone in the room got it. How about that? How contagious this virus is.
Are you starting to see a problem with the modeling and the testing kind of doing the same thing? Where
it's
the modeling
working hand in hand.
We put in bad information.
Right.
We got bad information out. We're doing the same thing with the testing. We're putting in bad information.
Yep.
We're getting bad information out. It's starting to feel like, maybe we need somebody because do people have anything to benefit from the virus count going up?
Only trillions of dollars.
I mean, right now,
exactly.
money is getting issued based on even people are shutting down their own business because they know there's a check.
Yep.
I know people, even in my own family, who are like, go to work and lose about $1,200 from the government,
right.
or stay at home,
or get paid by the government and stay at home.
I mean, that's not. I mean,
right.
that's
there are perverse incentives.
Right.
Absolutely. We're going to get to them in a second here, but now go back to my 80%.
Okay.
80% of 70 years and older that get the coronavirus in Idaho die from it.
Right.
Well, if our PCR tests are going up to 35 and 36 cycles, well, is it, 80 to 90% of those people who die from coronavirus never had it in the first place.
Right.
80 to 90%. If this, estimate is accurate,
right.
then 80 to 90% of the numbers in Idaho are junk.
Right. And that's not even counting for the whole with or from distinction.
Yep. Which they refuse to have a conversation about.
Because if you have a bunch that are testing at 35, 36, 37, whatever, and it's maybe just, again, Dr. Fauci says, just junk. What do you
PCR test,
nucleotides or something?
Yeah.
I'm trying to be really scientific here. But then,
dead viruses.
But if that knocks out a huge percentage of all of those stats, then you have to drill down even further to say, even of those who actually had it, really had it, well, did they actually die from it, or did they happen to have it and then they
had a heart attack and died with it, or whatever, or got shot and died with it, right? Which was happening in Washington. There was data that came out that they found that someone had gotten a car wreck, died from the car wreck, and they announced them that they were dead from COVID.
Maybe messed up
a reporter dug into the statistics and started finding out what they were reporting on all this, and it's just messed up. But you're right in all this. This gets us into the stimulus package that's coming out.
Yeah, 1.4 trillion is what it looked like last time. Is it still sitting there?
It's at $9 billion.
Oh, they dropped it down a little bit.
980 billion. Don't you
something. I mean,
980 billion.
Just below $1 trillion.
Okay,
right. I mean, 980.
They're becoming conservative.
Yeah, right. So the new stimulus that's coming out, they're talking about a couple things here. They're talking about possibly giving everybody $600 to $700 stimulus paycheck.
That's a drop from $600 from last time when you
got
it was
$1,200, right? And then boosting unemployment by $300, which last time they did it by $600. So it's a little lower, but it's still
you get
incentivizing.
A weekly check of unemployment from $300.
Yeah, from the federal government on top of your state unemployment.
Who's going to live? How do you live? Everybody's in welfare. How do you live off of this?
They're putting the whole U.S. in welfare.
$300 a week.
Right?
Huh, okay.
Yep. And then the proposal includes roughly $325 billion in small business relief, including $257 billion for Paycheck Protection Program and everything. They're pushing for a $17 billion Save Our Stages provision, which is
Save Our Stages.
The concert venue world. Save Our Stages.
Oh.
So kind of the concert venue world. $17 billion.
How come they don't fit inside of the business?
Small business
or business? I mean,
because there's always special interest in there somewhere, right?
People don't understand that. We're talking about how people are treating the elderly, locking them down, keeping them away from their families.
Yes,
and even in the name of keeping them safe, doing things that destroy their immune systems and their desires to live. There's the side effects from this are enormous.
Yeah, they are.
But it's the same thing going on here with work. People were made to work.
Right.
People were made to do stuff,
That's
to
right.
build stuff, invent stuff, serve other people. That's but you see, this is actually just practical Darwinism at work. When you believe that everything is an accident, that we're just chemicals and molecules bouncing around and happen to accidentally mutate into these shapes and forms, you don't think in terms of what we're for.
That's right.
And so all it is it's a matter of chemicals, and you're just sort of trying to pump chemicals, which is, I think, why there's so much hype about the vaccine. It's like, hey, we got a chemical fix.
Right.
And I'm not a total anti-vaxxer at all, although I'm massively skeptical about the thing that came out this
They're about to
fast.
make me one.
But
The first mRNA vaccine ever approved.
but just apart from all of that, I think there's a certain kind of Darwinian faith in this. Like, we got a chemical, shoot you up with it,
right?
Because we're just a bunch of chemicals. But we're actually made in the image of God, which means we were made to work.
Right.
We are made to invent and create and build.
Right.
We were made to make families and be in community. We were made for worship.
Right.
That's right.
Okay? And when you're doing things, when you're free to do that, you're free to be alive. You're free to flourish as human beings made in God's image.
Yeah.
But when you're locked down, when you're told you got to cover your face, when you're told you can't go to work, here's a check. There's something new on Netflix.
Yep.
Right.
All of that combines together. It's dehumanizing, but it really is. It's destroying life.
Right.
And I don't think people connect all those dots.
Right.
But the thing that's getting me right now, especially with the stimulus bills, when you look at this, you look at the money that's in here, it's not nearly enough for what they've taken. They have taken something from they've taken the humanity. They're not just taking jobs.
You can't put a value on life.
They have taken the humanity of the individual and saying you can't work.
Planned Parenthood
they've taken, but it's the same thing though in one sense.
It still wasn't worth it.
It still wasn't worth it. And so when they've taken that, there is some sort of restorativeness that they need to give back.
Right.
And so I don't like this because I don't like the process in which we're doing it. But like this guy, he's in Ventura County. I think it's what's the name of the shop? Nick's Greek
Greek Euros or something
Nick's
like
Greek
that.
Euros or something. But he's trying to do his business, and here comes the health services coming to shut him down.
Yeah.
I followed the rules. I continue to follow the rules, and you guys still, time after time, are giving me citations, telling me I have to close my business.
You're not
What about my employees?
You're not following the rules.
I am following the rules. My tables are inside. Just because the health department has the whole process to go through that takes however long that takes, I have to close my business for that time? Are you going to pay my rent? Are you going to pay my rent?
You chose to make those decisions, right?
I chose to protest by putting my tables outside, and I reiterate again, I never served one single person outside. I did all takeout food and delivery to what exactly I was supposed to be doing.
Wow.
So the fight is over this.
He put
tables
tables
outside
To
for
protest.
protest.
To protest.
He didn't sit anybody at those tables.
Didn't serve
he didn't
them.
serve any food at those tables.
wow.
He put the tables outside, but because he had tables outside
To protest.
To
So now he's
protest.
getting punished for protesting.
Good
By
on
the way,
him.
they haven't punished anybody else. What is it? Is it Seattle?
He forgot to put Black Lives Matter on those tables.
That's what it was.
That's what he should have done.
And he's been following, guys. This guy has really been following the rules. He might think it's dangerous and everything, but he's still
He's
following
trying to
the
make
doing
his money.
everything.
Yeah.
He's not one of the people on the complete other side.
Oh,
He's just
that's
trying to
wild.
say
That's a freedom of speech thing.
and so just because and so they've taken away his livelihood from doing this. And so the question is like, well, now where are we at? Are we at the place where like, you know what? Everybody just go to work. Everybody stop listening to these people. And when they try and
Absolutely.
shut you down, you take the chains off the door and you keep going to work. Because I don't think people understand where we are. When this whole thing started, everybody was trying to figure out, okay, where do we sit at? And there were so many people saying, guys, if we don't keep the free speech that we have, if we don't keep our liberties, even if we do have something that's real, we are going to be in a worse situation than we've been in. And now we're getting to this place where just having your table outside.
Right.
And them
He
seeing
forgot
that,
to put them inside the tent outside.
then he
The
could
outside building.
But you
If
know,
build a building outside,
Yep.
Yeah.
then you can sit inside the outside building.
so
And
what do you do at this point? What do you really do? Because now your livelihood is at threat.
Yeah.
Is this the place now where you start pushing back further against the government?
Absolutely.
Because, this is getting messy.
What you mean?
What does that look like? Yeah. What does that look like? Because at this point, when they come and put the chains on his door, and he comes cuts some chains off, and they make him a criminal. And okay, and
For having tables outside.
That's a federal offense, right? Or whatever it is. And now what? You go underground.
Well, yeah, right. You go black market. Yep.
You know, they're creating, by default, the people who are acting normal are criminals.
Yeah, that's right.
And so how far does this go? I just was reading something the other day that the vaccine itself, I saw some doctors saying just because you took the vaccine doesn't mean you have to take off your mask or that you just go running around. You can still infect people.
Yep.
Right. They're going to run this for as long as they can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave Rubin tweeted this out, and he said, I'm more concerned about the virus of compliance than the virus of COVID.
And that's...
And Dave Rubin is a homosexual, non-Christian, getting this more than pastors here in our church.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Absolutely.
I
think you have to. You really have to game it out as best you can, and think about. This is why community matters so much.
I was going to say, you need.
Do
some
you have
numbers.
any friends? Do you have anybody who will stick by you? This is one of the things that I think this is in a long-term game that the left has been playing. The destruction of the family, the destruction of the church. Those things. What they do is they divide people.
Yeah.
And you don't have a community anymore. You don't trust one another, or your trust is skin deep. Your trust is, I see him at the gym.
Right.
I see him at the coffee shop every morning. But you don't have deep trust. And when you don't have deep trust in other people, you are easily hurtable.
That's right.
Right? Because you don't know who's got your back.
Right.
Yep.
And now you're stuck, and he's stuck, and he's desperate. He's trying to fight for it. But
Almost too late to the game.
This is why community matters so much. This is why family matters so much over generations. Faithfulness in your marriage, faithfulness to your kids, raising them in the Lord, faithfulness in a covenant people of God, where you have each other's backs. That's a place where you can stand.
Yeah.
And
that's right.
And those who basically worship state power, every other form of unity and loyalty is a threat to that state power.
Exactly
It's secondary.
Which is why they want to get your
right.
kids to the government schools.
That's
and,
right.
And they want to get they want to offer you porn, and they want to offer you all the things. And
right.
here's a check. You don't have to go to work, because a business, a family, a church, all that stuff builds loyalty and ties.
That's right.
All those ties, and with that loyalty and tie, that's
a threat.
That's an army.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to come to blows. It doesn't have to come to the militia, though it may.
Yeah.
But it can just mean that a crowd of people, we're with them. What are you going to do? You're going to arrest all of us?
Yep.
This is why it was so beautiful when you were arrested.
Yeah.
And right away, all the elders met and we said, we're going to be back. We got to do it again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's right.
And we all said, basically, if they're going to arrest Gabe, if they're going to arrest
the Benets.
Sean and Rachel.
then there's more of us.
Yeah.
Come on back.
We'll fill your jail cells,
And we
sir.
were down there with 200 or 300 the day you were arrested.
Yeah. And they went 500-600.
And we came back on Friday, and there was 600 or 700 or whatever singing psalms, and not a cop in sight.
Right.
But we said we're ready.
Right.
And that's what it's going to take.
Yeah, taking every opportunity that you have, especially right now, this Christmas.
Right. Yep.
Go out.
This is why community matters. This is why feasting matters. This is why worship matters.
Because you're building that loyalty in that
building that
and a place
loyalty.
to fight from.
Absolutely.
That's great, Toby.
If you're single, get married. If you're married, have kids. If you have kids, go baptize them until Sunday. Love God with all your heart.
matters.
Yes, it does matter.
Baptism matters.
Loyalty.
Loving God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength matters. Loving your neighbor as yourself matters. Go fight, laugh, and feast. This is Cross Politics.
All baptisms matter.
Baptism, that's the loyalty.
All baptisms matter. I want that shirt.
That's good.